Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. History is full of what-ifs, alternate timelines, roads not taken. Imagine a world where one of history's most infamous figures never existed. Today we explore 7 significant and positive changes that could have emerged in the 20th century if Adolf Hitler had never been born. Would the world be a utopia? Probably not. But could it have been a better place? Let's explore the possibilities. Fasten your seatbelts, because we're about to take a journey through an alternate 20th century. One where the horrors of Nazism never darkened the world's doorstep. World War II, a catastrophic event, stemmed from a complex web of factors, including political instability, economic turmoil, and the rise of totalitarian regimes. At its heart was Adolf Hitler, whose aggressive expansionist policies and virulent ideology set the stage for global conflict. Without Hitler steering Germany towards militarization and conquest, it's likely the Second World War would not have occurred. The aggressive rearmament and the invasion of neighboring countries might have been avoided. Imagine a world where the bombings of London, the beaches of Normandy, and the countless battles across Europe and the Pacific never took place. The cities that were reduced to rubble would have remained intact, their histories and cultures preserved. The atrocities committed in the name of racial purity, including the horrors of concentration camps, would never have scarred humanity. The systematic genocide that claimed millions of lives would be an unthinkable nightmare rather than a historical reality. Tens of millions of lives would have had the chance to live, love and contribute to the world. Families torn apart by war would have remained whole, and generations lost to conflict would have thrived. The geopolitical landscape would be vastly different, with borders and alliances drawn differently. The formation of the United Nations, aimed at preventing future conflicts, might have taken a different path, or perhaps even emerged earlier. The absence of World War II would have meant a world without the Holocaust, sparing 6 million Jewish lives and countless others. The cultural and intellectual contributions of those who perished would have enriched societies worldwide. Nations might have invested in scientific advancement, cultural exchange, and solving pressing issues instead of building weapons. The resources spent on war could have been directed towards eradicating diseases, advancing technology, and fostering international cooperation. Instead of post-war reconstruction, the world might have seen a continuous progression of innovation and peace. Scientific conferences and cultural exchanges would have flourished, leading to a more interconnected and understanding global community. It's a glimpse into a world where the darkness of Nazi ideology never took root, and the collective human spirit was perhaps a little brighter. The resilience and resistance movements that emerged during the war would have channeled their energies into building a better world from the start. The Holocaust, a chilling testament to human depravity, would be relegated to the realm of the hypothetical in this alternate timeline. In this reimagined history, the world would have been spared one of its darkest chapters. Imagine a world where 6 million Jewish lives were not extinguished, where families continued to grow and thrive, and communities remained vibrant and full of life. In this world, their contributions would have continued to enrich our societies, bringing advancements in science, art, and culture. The loss of these brilliant minds would never have cast a shadow over human progress. Without Hitler, would the seeds of hatred and intolerance have found less fertile ground? Would the ideologies of hate have been less pervasive, allowing for a more inclusive and tolerant society to flourish? It's impossible to say for sure, but the absence of such a catastrophic event would have undoubtedly altered the course of history in profound ways. The absence of the Holocaust would have left a void filled with the potential for good, with countless lives saved and their contributions made. The rebuilding of communities would have been a testament to human resilience and hope. With the preservation of these lives, the world would have seen even greater advancements in various fields, from medicine to technology, from literature to philosophy. This alternate timeline offers a glimmer of hope, a vision of what could have been if humanity had chosen a different path. It serves as a powerful reminder of the impact of our choices, a reminder that the choices we make can have a profound impact on history. The movements for peace and justice that emerged post-war would have been even stronger, fueled by the collective memory of what was avoided. Let us strive to create a world where the horrors of the Holocaust remain confined to history books, a stark reminder of what we must never allow to happen again. The stories of survivors and the memorials serve as eternal witnesses to the resilience of the human spirit. These memorials and ceremonies remind us of our duty to remember and to act, ensuring that such atrocities are never repeated. Let us honor their memory by building a future rooted in compassion, understanding, and peace. Picture Europe in the early 20th century, a continent on the brink, teetering between the old world and the new. The echoes of the First World War still reverberated through the streets, and the scars of conflict were fresh in the minds of its people. Nations were grappling with economic instability, political upheaval, and social change. The old monarchies were crumbling and new ideologies were emerging, vying for dominance in a rapidly changing world. Into this volatile mix stepped Adolf Hitler, who exploited the anxieties of a wounded German nation to seize power. His rise was marked by fiery rhetoric and promises of restoring Germany to its former glory. He tapped into the deep-seated fears and frustrations of the populace, offering them a scapegoat for their troubles and a vision of a powerful, unified nation. But in our alternate timeline, Hitler is absent. Imagine a world where his influence never took root, where his voice was just one among many, drowned out by the clamour of a diverse political landscape. Without his poisonous ideology, the political landscape of Europe might have taken a very different course. The power vacuum left by his absence could have been filled by more moderate voices, advocating for cooperation and peace rather than conflict and division. Political rallies would have been platforms for debate and dialogue, not for the spread of hate and fear. The Nazi Party might have remained a fringe movement, and Germany might have sought a more peaceful path. The Weimar Republic, despite its challenges, could have found the stability it desperately needed. Political reforms and economic recovery plans might have been given the time and support to succeed, fostering a sense of hope and progress among the German people. The Weimar Republic might have had a fighting chance to survive and flourish, evolving into a more stable and democratic state. With a focus on democratic principles and social welfare, Germany could have become a beacon of progress in Europe, inspiring other nations to follow suit. The cultural and intellectual renaissance of the 1920s might have continued, enriching European society as a whole. This alternate Europe might have avoided the horrors of another world war and the subsequent division of the continent during the Cold War. Instead of being torn apart by conflict, Europe could have experienced a period of unprecedented peace and unity, laying the groundwork for the prosperous and integrated continent we know today. The seeds of cooperation planted in the 1930s could have blossomed into a strong, united Europe, resilient in the face of future challenges. Imagine a world where brilliant minds weren't forced to flee their homes by the scourge of Nazism. The exodus of Jewish scientists from Europe in the 1930s robbed the continent of a generation of genius. Without the threat of Nazi persecution, these brilliant minds might have remained in Europe, continuing their work in their home countries. The pace of scientific discovery might have been even more rapid without the disruption caused by Nazi policies. New breakthroughs in theoretical physics, quantum mechanics, and other fields might have emerged sooner. It's a world where the pursuit of knowledge and the advancement of science flourished, unimpeded by hatred and persecution. The United Nations, established after World War II, embodies the hope for a future where dialogue replaces conflict. But in our alternate timeline, where Hitler never existed, would the UN have emerged in the same way? Without such a cataclysmic event, the world might have taken a different path toward international cooperation. The League of Nations might have evolved into a more robust organization capable of addressing international disputes. Or perhaps a new organization would have emerged, tailored to the challenges of a world not scarred by war. This organization might have placed a greater emphasis on addressing issues like poverty, inequality, and climate change. It's a vision of a world where international cooperation is a fundamental principle guiding global affairs. The development and use of atomic bombs marked a turning point in human history, ushering in the era of nuclear weapons. But in our alternate timeline, the impetus for developing such devastating weapons might never have existed. Without World War II, the Manhattan Project might never have been conceived. The resources poured into developing nuclear weapons could have been redirected towards more peaceful pursuits. Imagine a world where the brightest minds focused on harnessing the power of the atom for peaceful purposes. It's a world where the nuclear threat remained a hypothetical danger and humanity chose a path guided by reason and compassion. The 20th century was marked by staggering levels of human suffering. But in our alternate timeline, imagine the possibilities for a greater humanitarian focus. Without the massive expenditures on World War II, nations might have had greater resources to address global challenges. Imagine a world where governments invested heavily in eradicating poverty, improving global health, and ensuring access to education for all. International cooperation might have been a driving force behind global efforts to alleviate suffering. This alternate timeline offers a glimpse into a world where compassion and empathy guided global priorities. It's a world where the pursuit of peace, justice, and human dignity took precedence over power and dominance. As we conclude our journey, it's clear that the absence of Adolf Hitler would have profoundly reshaped human history. The world might have embarked on a different trajectory, characterized by greater cooperation and scientific advancement. While we can only speculate about the specifics, one thing is certain. The world without Hitler would have been a vastly different and arguably better place. It serves as a powerful reminder that the choices we make and the values we embrace have the power to shape humanity's destiny. What other changes do you think could have happened? Let us know in the comments below.